Two different generations, two different endgames, and two different presidents. But did Jackson and Clarence have the same methods? Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. We're asking, who was the better president in Sons of Anarchy? Now that Clay is gone, we know that he will not be having any more days with the gavel in his hands, even though his hands I don't think could hold a gavel anymore. But despite that, we're going to see who's the better president. But when you actually look at it, I mean, a lot of the things that Jax accused Clay of doing, he kind of copied when he took the hot seat.
You know who used to say that? The guy who used to sit in that chair.
And Chibs wasn't rang. And even, we've seen Bobby even have to walk away. And as bad as things got between Bobby and Clay, Bobby never had to walk away from the club. He just gave an officer challenge. Now, did Bobby know that no one would vote for him over Jax, or did Bobby believe that Jax was the rightful prez and he just didn't get on board with him? Say what you want, but it did go to show you that at times, you know, Jackson was getting called out, and I mean, we can say that Clay tried to manipulate people. I mean, Jax did the same thing. He did it with Juice. He essentially did it with Tig. And then he would even just not let any of the members know about stuff sometimes, in order to hide secrets. Stuff that maybe Clay would do as well, but for me, before Jackson took over, he did insinuate that Clay was a really bad leader, and then he kind of copied Clay in a lot of the stuff that he did. So, yeah, I don't know, maybe the gavel does corrupt, as they once said, but you guys, 396 of you voted, and Jax has won unanimously. 84%, man, a big win for Jax. Clay only getting 16%. Honestly, I actually think Clay was probably the better prez, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with the 16%. I think Clay's the better president, but he done worse stuff. You look at it, right? Clay led SAMCRO for I don't know the exact timeline, right? But I'm going to say 15, 16 years, somewhere in that time frame, alright? And the club wasn't really in any deep shit. Now, obviously, during Sons of Anarchy, the TV show, for season 1 up to the end of season 4, when Clay gets stripped of the presidency, that's when kind of all things hit the fan. But I think what goes against Clay is the fact that, he did have his hand in killing JT. He did try and kill Opie and kill Donna by mistake. He did kill Piney. He did batter Gemma. He did try to kill Tara.
Well, none of that stuff was good, I'll be honest. I'm not giving him credit for that.
But I think in terms of the overall running of a motorcycle club, I've got to go with Clay.
To me, see, when Clay was in charge, despite him wanting to lead the club in a certain way, I felt like democracy was more of a thing. Whereas when Jax took over, it kind of felt like, none of you guys really get a vote. I'm just going to do everything I want. I'm going to manipulate everything. I mean, as much as Clay wanted to do certain... I do feel like he gave every member a say. Jax, a lot of the times, was not even taking things to the table. And yeah. He was just doing things his own way.
But obviously, Clay did bring in the cartel, which pretty much was the beginning of the end. I get it. Half the members went along with the cartel. I mean, Jax did vote for the cartel, but then we have to rank Jax's presidency run. He did give up Tig to be killed to Marks. He pretty much used Juice like a whipping boy and his little bitch to do side tasks. So, and Jax, you're right. I mean, the whole IRA stuff and Marks, he made all these deals by himself without bringing the club to the table.
Yeah, I mean, at least Clay, I think, got everybody involved more.
But, I think it's very good writing. I think with Jax, he did it for the club, but it was in a very selfish way. Well, Clay did it with the club for himself. If you know what I mean. Like Jax getting the club out of guns, he's not doing it just for himself. I do feel like Jax is doing it to actually benefit the club long term and stop the blood. Well, Clay, he knows that the guns is consistent and all that good stuff, but he wants to line his own fucking pockets. You heard it himself, man. It's left no retirement plan. McGee said that, Clay said that. He wanted to cash in, and that's exactly what he did.
We're going to cash in the comments, so let's see what you guys are saying. Bridget Connor, call me crazy, but it seemed like the club was more whole and healthy with Clay in charge. Jax was too much of self-conflicted menstrual show. Does Jax want to stay in the club, or does he want to leave? Does he want to rescue his son, or does he want him to leave with his new family? Does he want out of the guns, or does he want to wait? Does he want Tara, or does he want her to leave? Guy left us so confused, we didn't know whether to shite or wipe our arse. With that being said, I still love the show and the characters, even though All of these so-called badass bikers often come off like a bunch of whining, hypersensitive, feminine men with no control over their emotions in their either directions. Way too much love going on between members with all of the hugging and kissing all the time. But yeah, Clay for the win and seem to lead less death among members. Do you agree with that?
I'm going to disagree with it, right? Because you know what? Kurt Sutter actually spent times with MCs, so he must have seen some level of brotherhood and camaraderie going on. And we've got to suspend our disbelief here, because he has to write a fucking TV show. See if all these bikers are just cold-blooded fucking killers. It's a boring show.
Aye.
It's the same with every TV show, man. Right? Characters have to care. Characters have to love. You know, I think in this example, did Jax let his emotions get the best of him? Absolutely, but that's why you like the character Jax. I think you seen with Clay is that he was loving, but when he had to do what had to be done, he became fucking dark. Like, see Jax's turn when, like, Opie died, then Tara died? It wouldn't be the same if he was just cold-hearted from the beginning. We've seen at the beginning of the show, Jax didn't want to kill anybody.
Yeah, which I thought was
and there's
good.
A few members in the club that were the same, like Opie and Juice and Jax. I would put them in the same category, where, you know, they weren't cold-hearted killers. I don't think they're the same as, like, Chibs and Tig and Bobby and Clay. I think they're more old school.
Yeah, even Opie with Hefner.
Yeah.
Or Hebner, even.
Aye.
Hebner.
Earl Hebner.
You know, he didn't want to kill him, and then ended up getting Bobby, kind of, you know.
I think it's an old cliche that, like, every member of an MC in real life is this, like, tough, fucking, hard, bearded guy that fucking just likes killing people, man. Not everyone's the same.
Yeah, that may be a front that they put on when you see them, like, but I mean, you don't know what they're like behind closed doors.
But as for, like,
I mean, they could, for all we know, they could all be bumming each other in the clubhouse.
Could be doing that. But as for the whole minstrel show, I mean, I get it, right? Maybe sometimes there's a wee bit too much tears being shed, but I'm willing to bet in real life this is what happens, man.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them went through, some crazy shit. So it'd be hard, hard to control your emotions. Anyway, Fartman97 said Jax Taylor was the best president. Rob McGoffney, Clay was a way better prez than Jax. Realist92 says the biggest problem both Jax and Clay had was keeping secrets, thinking they were protecting the club when it was actually just causing damage. Clay keeping the club in the dark about the cartel, which was the feds. Jax had multiple secrets during his presidency. Look, Clay did keep the club in the dark about the cartel, but I think that's just because how high those stakes were and Clay needed that money.
It wasn't due to them being feds, because Clay didn't know at the time.
Yeah, it's like, you're pinpointing this one Clay moment, right? But see, other than that, and of course, the killing of Opie, that's the only two secrets Clay really kept. See, when Jax became president, literally everything going forward was basically the Jackson Taylor show, and he was hiding pretty much everything for the club.
Yeah, I mean, Clay did, other things like, I mean, he wanted to shut down Cara Cara, which, I mean, some people think it's dirty, whatever, but and it's a club call, you can't do that shit on your own. Yeah, and you look at other things in season 2.
I feel like if it was Jax, though, he'd have burnt it down. No, the way Jax actually accused Clay of burning it down.
Yeah.
I think if it was Jax in later seasons, he wouldn't have took it to a vote.
Like, you look at season 2 as well, with the whole Weston and Sobel stuff, which feels like a million years ago, but it's like, Clay did it to spite Jax, and then Jax points out the fact, if we do this, we're all going to jail, the police are on the way. They couldn't put their rivalry to one side and were happy enough to let them both go to jail. Everyone go to jail. Just to, like, spite the other one.
Yeah. Kiet Man says, Jack's my man.
I want to just point something about Clay. See, anytime you hear Clay talking about JT and he's like, oh, JT was conflicted, he was weak, he needed to go. I actually believe that. I don't think it's a case that he wanted John Teller gone, so he wanted his wife. I genuinely believe with Clay, he wanted to kill John Teller because he actually thought he was taking the Suns down this path that was going to make them weak and vulnerable.
No, pretty much.
See, when you hear Clay speak, it doesn't sound like he's putting on a show and tell, or it sounds like he's speaking from the heart. He's like, he had to fucking go, sort of talk.
You know what though, right? People blame season 4, people blame the cartel and the feds on Clay, and I get it, right? He is the one that pushed for it, But let's make no mistake about it. Jax didn't think it was a good idea, and he was willing to, vote for the club to get involved just to get him out. So seeing season 4, at that point he really didn't give a shit.
Yeah, as Jack said at season 4 premiere, this club isn't about love and brotherhood, it's about beer and money.
Well, one season later, and Opie took a lead pipe to the back of the head for you, so, I disagree. Headsick Nation says, I'm still not sure about the ending when Jax commits suicide. I wouldn't really factor that into his presidency, but I get what you're saying. Bacon Grizzler, honestly, there are two answers for this. Clay was better for making the club rich, but the issue the whole time he was pres, they never truly felt unified. Fighting against enemies, sure, but internally they never seemed to be really on the same page. Jax was better in terms of trying to restore the brotherhood that the club once had, or perhaps just thought they had. They definitely lost some profit from him. It really depends on what you want from a leader. But again, I actually think, when Jax was there, I get it. I think more people like Jax and they believed in Jax and they maybe believed with, his end game and all this to get out of guns and try and lead the club in a better direction and a safer direction. But, Jax was so secretive. It felt like, Jax was like a one-man band, really, didn't it? And the club weren't there.
Yeah, obviously when Clay was there was a lot of votes that were split, and the only real votes that were split with Jax was when the Nomads were there with Clay.
Jax the only stuff Jax took to the table was stuff that he knew was unanimously going to pass.
Aye.
See all the hidden stuff that he was doing himself? That wasn't going anywhere.
Absolutely.
I can argue season 1 and 3 after they found out about Jenna. Okay, I suppose. Jeff Dollar says, you all saying Jax, but that is the common answer. Clay knew how to run a club. Jax wasn't even really in it when he was trying to bounce on the club for 4 seasons. Well, Clay ran that shit, and I swear, Jax was only president for 6 to 8 months. Now tell me who the better pres was.
Yeah, that's another thing. Clay was president not only for the first 4 seasons, but like I said earlier, 16 years. Jax's tenure is very fucking minuscule.
Is that the timeline?
I'd say it's about that, yeah.
That's crazy, though, isn't it?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure there is references. Clay says to Jax in season 5 episode 11, he's like, oh, we sat in a tow truck a few months back, which would obviously, when they sat in the tow truck, Clay was still president.
So not that much time passed between Clay dying and Jax dying.
And there's a 2-week skip for when he strips Clay as president in season 5 beginning. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it's less than 68 months. But the reality, I'm not saying just because you lasted 6 months means you're automatically worse than a guy who did 20 years. But 20 years in this line of work, I feel like actually means something.
Yeah, Aaron Lover says, say what you want about Clay, but Clay was better. Selfish and greedy, but better. I can agree to that. No bread, no water, just meat said, I know it's a TV show and story, but the moment I started to not like Clay is when he tried to have Katara killed and when he beat the shit out of Gemma. I get that, but that doesn't mean he wasn't the better president, though, does he? Does it?
No, it doesn't, and, was he not hung about when he killed Piney? Was that a real laugh then?
Yeah, that wasn't good either.
Though, we talked about it 2 seasons ago, but I don't think Clay killing Piney was that bad. Fucking end of the day, Piney was leveraging some serious fucking shit on him.
It's a fucking first name brother. Of course it's bad.
No, it's bad, but it's not like he just killed him. Piney was literally blackmailing him with this shit that was going to get Clay killed. For Clay not to do anything about it would have been...
Is Piney not a bit dumb for thinking that Clay was going to let that go? If Piney really suspects that Clay killed JT, why would he even push Clay's buttons and give him that ultimatum to make?
Because Piney cared about the club, but here, maybe when we wrap this show up and maybe when Mayans gets talked about a wee bit more, we'll put up who was the best president between the 4 of them.
Well, I don't know, if Piney should have left town and not go to his cabin that Clay knew about. If he was really going to hold leverage over him.
That's shite bag, for fuck's sake, first 9 member. We're going to hide for Clay Morrow. Frankie Diamonds couldn't hide for Clay. Nacon could hide for Clay.
See if you had information that could hurt Clay. It was like the Terminator.
Sniffed you out.
Alright, anyway guys, that's it. Catch you in the next one. We're both going with Clay Morrow. Because I just think Clay ran the club better, and I think that I just do believe there was more democracy when Clay was there. I know that he tried to get certain people on board, But with Jax, I mean, it literally was, look, I'm not even going to take this to the table. And if he did take it to the table, he had to manipulate people and blackmail them in order to make sure he had their guaranteed vote. Like, through Jax's entire presidency, Tig and Juice couldn't possibly vote against him.
Yeah, pretty much. So, tells you all you need to know. But I mean, just to wrap it up, Jack's pushing to get out of guns. I think, which I mean, it caused a lot of shit.
It did. Anyway, guys, that's it. We'll catch you in the next one. Till then, peace.